Our last award of the evening is the Donald F. Erickson Synapses Award. And Crossroads is grateful and honored to remember Don Erickson every year and his work for social change through this award. Don taught geography, history, and social studies at Calumet High School. Calumet High School, anyone? No? Okay. Hey. He was also a committed activist for peace and justice, working to end human rights violations across the globe. Tonight we present the Donald F. Erickson Synapses Award to Arab American Action Network. AAAN, as we all know them. AAAN has mastered the art of combining direct services for their community members with advocacy and organizing in a way that many of us dream about. You have shown that organizing starts with the day-to-day needs and desires of community folks and is most effective when coupled with a clear set of politics that elevate the intersections of people's identities and lives. As many of us awaken to a new dawn, AAAN is here to remind us that the dawn is indeed not new at all for their communities, both locally and globally. Their community members have had to endure the special registry after 9/11, over-surveillance, and intense harassment and hatred in daily life. Yet over many years, we have seen your amazing strength, determination, and leadership as a guiding star for progressive movement organizations in Chicago. You have worked to draw attention to the infringement of civil liberties, have worked with immigrants from all communities. Your youth have a deep understanding of shared struggle and lessons to be learned from youth of other communities, especially Black youth, about being over-policed. Due to this deep engagement with the wider Chicago community, your call to converge at O'Hare Airport was answered by thousands of people protesting the hateful and failed executive order that banned Muslims from 7 Muslim-majority countries. We at the Crossroads Fund are humbled to present you with this award, and this recognition could not have come at a more difficult time when you are not only facing extreme anti-Muslim sentiment that is state-sanctioned, but also going through a sense of angst in the campaign to achieve justice for Rasmea Odeh. This award is recognition by us and by many people for your continuous work to bring justice not only to the Arab Muslim community, but to the world as a whole. Let's take a look at a short video clip before the AAAN comes on up.
I think the AAAN, in one word, I'll describe it as dedicated.
Amazing. Adventurous.
Amazing.
Fulfilling. Unique. Creative.
Educational.
Awesome.
بيتي الثاني.
Family.
أسرة كبيرة.
The people from the community are the ones that will make a difference, the ones that will lead the movements that change their lives.
What's unique about the Arab American Action Network is that we combine social services with advocacy and organizing. And we're one of the few organizations across the country that does that, and even fewer organizations in the country that target Arab Americans specifically and Muslim Americans specifically. One of the most significant moments for me was hearing one of our young women say, "I was never proud to be Arab until I came to the AAAN. I was so ashamed of my culture until I came to the AAAN."
الأمريكية مؤسسة مهمة ووجدت في ظروف طارئة. الحرب والاحتلال في وطننا العربي بقودوا للاعتداءات السياسية والتشريعية علينا هون في أمريكا. عشان هيك من الواجب إن ننظم أنفسنا وندافع عن حقوقنا ضمن الجالية حتى نكون مؤثرين في التغيير ويكون صوتنا مسموع.
We're an urban organization.
We dropped off a letter to Michael J. Anderson, who's head of the FBI here in the city of Chicago, to his office. We demanded in our letter that he end SARS and also end CVE and stop racially profiling our community.
We will fight day and night to protect our rights.
12 people, as far as we know, that are still detained here at Chicago O'Hare. There are hundreds of protesters here inside Terminal 5, the international terminal.
No KKK, no racist USA, no Trump. No KKK, no racist USA, no Trump.
And this is video of a man holding a child. We believe this is one or two of the people that were detained here at Chicago O'Hare.
We had 5,000 people at the airport on that first weekend of the first ban. 5,000 people and tens of thousands across the country in airports everywhere. So it wasn't just legal work. It wasn't just a judge who happened to be liberal and wanted to sign a temporary restraining order. The mass movement is what won that restraining order for the first ban and defeated it, and the mass movement is what won yesterday's temporary restraining order. So we're saying we're going to continue to be out here.
DHS, let's be clear, refugees are welcome here. DHS, let's be clear, refugees are welcome here.
As they join us on stage, I want you to know that Hatem Abudayyeh from AAAN is a longtime friend of Crossroads, and he's someone who we look to for leadership all the time. And for us, Rasmea Odeh is a leader, a strong woman, a hero, a community treasure, and someone we support and love. AAAN.
So, Barbara Ransby, you must have been hedging your bets because you asked Rosie to make the same announcement that you asked me to make. Thank you, Jean, Jane, Emily, Manny, and all the other good people at the Crossroads Fund for this honor. I want to also make sure she's not here. She didn't make it yet. But I also want to make sure to recognize and thank one of the AAAN's co-founders, who I'm sure has been up here before in the heyday of the Southwest Youth Collaborative, a Chicago legend of the social justice movement, Camilla Alda. We're humbled to share this stage tonight with Miriam Kaba, Project NIA, and OCAD, but also to share it with Crossroads. I don't think there are many funders in the country that are actually part and parcel of our movement, but Crossroads is, and that's why it's so important to support. Crossroads folks solicited donations for us when an arsonist destroyed our center after the September 11th attacks, and have already provided emergency support for our organizing this year in response to the racist, sexist, homophobe in the White House. We will always, always value this partnership. And now back to the racist, sexist, homophobe in the White House. When Trump announced his Muslim ban, these wonderful organizers up here responded pretty quickly and helped mobilize over 5,000 people to shut down a section of O'Hare Airport. Although the first executive order and Muslim ban 2.0, both were stopped in federal court, make no mistake, they were defeated by the mass movement, by tens of thousands of people shutting down airports and streets in protest around the whole country. The ban is another example of the U.S. government consistently trying to justify its foreign policy and wars against the Arab world by assigning a domestic face to the quote-unquote enemy abroad. But these policies don't just criminalize Arabs and Muslims. The most dangerous of the executive orders and implementation memos are those that target undocumented immigrants, mostly Mexicans and Central Americans, for deportation, as well as those that continue to allow local and federal law enforcement to commit crimes and acts of brutality with impunity against black communities across the country. We unite in resistance with OCAD, the Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, Project NIA, Black Lives Matter, ICIR, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, and so many others, because our liberation is linked. Because our liberation is linked to the liberation of Black, Latino, Native, Asian, and all other oppressed communities. That's the only way to build the society and the world that we want. And thank you again, Crossroads, for your role in helping make that happen. Tonight is also a special one because I get the opportunity to introduce a force of nature. Rasmea Odeh has been my colleague at the AAAN for 13 years, but she's going to be leaving us in 1969 in Palestine. Rasmea was arrested, brutally tortured, sexually assaulted, and forced into a false confession of a crime by Israeli military forces. She served 10 years and then came to the United States as a permanent resident in 1994, becoming a citizen